Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
This is great. This has been long overdue. Paul, Dorinda, thank you for putting this together. This is making a big difference. This last couple of years has been, the best of times and the worst of times. Last year was really tough. What that meant in terms of our restaurants, what that meant in terms of tourism, what that meant in terms of our museums. And we're not out of the woods as yet. We're still up at close to 6% for the last couple of weeks in terms of the COVID infection rate. I think working with Dave and working with all of you, you know your customers. You know what it takes to keep them safe. You know what it means to give them the confidence to come into your aquarium, into your museum, into your restaurant, into your hotel. And we're going to rely upon your good sense there. And I tried a lot of ways to get people vaccinated, free drinks. That was good for restaurants. I don't know if better than vaccinated. Other guys were doing lottery tickets. People are getting their boosters now, let me tell you. So best of times, I think, is that the rest of the state and the rest of the region and the rest of the country were reintroduced to the amazing state of Connecticut. As Dorinda said, other guys are closing down beaches and closing down parks and closing down golf courses, and it seemed nuts to me. I mean, that's one of the things we knew you could do safely, and we had more people visit our beaches, more people visit our parks, more people visit our golf courses than ever before. I think a lot of them are going to keep coming back. I think a lot of them stayed. Last year we had tens of thousands of families net increase moving into the state of Connecticut, all over the state of Connecticut. This year again it looks like thousands of families. And that's another piece of what tourism is to me, is reintroducing people to what makes this state so amazing. I'm a trail guy, I like the fact that there's a hiking trail within, 5-10 mile drive of just about anywhere. I like brewery trails. I like the wine trails. I like history. I think they have some of those beautiful beaches. I like the fact that other people are discovering what makes us so special as well. And one of the things that, David and I really worked on last year, how could we reintroduce this state to ourselves? And that's why David came up with the plan that we would have free access for all of our students. So they'd be able to see the aquariums. They'd be able to get out to Hammonasset Park, and we had free bus service for them on weekends to be able to do that. So we start by allowing the young people themselves to come in and get access right here to the Science Center. So they're so key to our economic future.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's good to be here at a meeting of the 5 families. I do want to start by just calling out to some folks at DECD. So first off is our newest hire, Noelle Stevenson. Noelle, would you mind standing up? Noelle just recently moved to Connecticut from South Florida. She's going to head our tourism efforts here, driving that effort now with significant experience and a fresh perspective. But Noelle is going to have a huge impact on the state, and really excited about her being here. You should know Christine heads all the marketing efforts for the state, and again, now that we have significant funding, there's lots of efforts on new content, new messaging, new creative that we're going to be getting out, and we want to work with this group very closely on that. Christine Abercrombie. So Kyle, hopefully folks know Kyle on the legislative side. He is our legislative liaison. I talked to Jason Mancini earlier, the partnership between DECD and Connecticut Humanities. Again, a lot of the funding that was afforded for operational support, whether it's during COVID or these next 2 years, that is so significant. And the impact of arts, culture, museums, tourism to the economy is very, very clear. And we want to have a fresh beginning here. We want to start working with the legislator, with the industry, make sure we're taking the feedback and making sure that Connecticut is really standing out as the leader. Connecticut is really standing out as the leader marketing, tourism, arts.
Agency professionals are going to help implement and create efficiencies in those policies. And then how get the sectors to work together? So if you had 2 things, what would they be? Calida.
And if I had to say 2 things, I would say intentionality behind how funding is distributed. The majority of our individual artists can't get into these rooms, and so there's no way for them to talk about their story. There's no way for them to create their art meaning because they're struggling to find funds to make that happen. So I would encourage legislators to talk to people like myself with Connecticut Arts Alliance. We are on the ground. We know what's happening in the arts. We know what's moving in the arts. We know what works. And rather than sit in rooms and be siloed, talk to the people who are doing the work and understand it. And I actually think that would be, it's just the one thing. Like, can we include all of our state and not just the larger infrastructures of arts organizations?
We need to recognize that we are part of a broader ecosystem, organizations across arts, humanities, and tourist destinations. And if we're not talking to one another, if we don't understand that interrelationship and the opportunities to co-promote and why we matter, I think we're really not serving our constituents in the best way we can. Place matters. We have a remarkable state to live, to work, to experience, and there are tremendous opportunities to connect in collaboration with the Office of the Arts and DECD, arts supporting humanities and museums, and vice versa. We can't sell what we don't know. We can't sell what we don't know.
A lot more positive attitude about Connecticut than there might have been a decade ago. And that's really important. There's less self-loathing. And with that, has come an investment now in advertising the state and the marketing component of the state. And that is just a huge step forward. Now I think we have to focus on what tourism means to the economy in a holistic sense. What does it mean to the state in a holistic sense? And I think the two key issues that we need to be looking at are inclusion for our own citizens and for people of less advantage who do travel, who do take vacations. But how do we make our state an inclusive one? I think accessibility, inclusion, and with that, now that we've addressed the marketing issue, we've got to address the infrastructure issue. And I'll just say, this facility here is a beautiful facility, and it's the result of state investment. This area of Hartford was not particularly attractive prior to that state investment.
And we are collecting key data on organization, operating budget over time. We're looking at employment numbers. We're looking at connection to education and online resources, visitation information, as well as initiatives around diversity, inclusion, equity, and access. Bring us all together, not just to recognize our common history and the threads of those organizations that can tell the story of American independence, but how do we imagine a more perfect union curriculum in the state that is inclusive, and beginning to sort of think through those threads in the fabric of our communities, and having tribal members with a seat, multiple seats at the table, all communities being represented as we build out this curriculum. I think that's the fabric we need to start with. Use that as an example for the ways that we can all engage the cultural resources in our state. Third and fifth most educated state in the country. And I think we would really miss an opportunity to not connect with that educated populace, but also the colleges and universities across Connecticut. There's more than 40 in the state. How do we think about them as part of our tourist economy? People come here from all over the world to be educated in Connecticut. How do we start keeping those people here? Very rich heritage around precision tool making, around manufacturing. And if we didn't sort of reach back into history to understand what our capacity is collectively, I think we'd be mistaken. There's so many examples that we can look to inform our future, to bring it into the 21st century and beyond.